podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
All right, folks, this is a Mailbag Pod. And you seem to do these in the summer, Tom. I seem to remember us doing one last year.
Yeah, I feel like I've done maybe two before. And I think I was going to say both in the off-season, but that's probably not true. Maybe it's just the last one last summer.
Can't remember. But it's a good time to catch up on all the stuff we don't talk about normally, maybe. So, of course, there's a lot of similar stuff, and thanks for all your questions. It got us absolute flood of them. And 99% of them weren't calling me a racist, which I have to say was quite nice. Thanks, folks.
It's a change as well.
Yeah. I got flooded by the troll farm this week, many of which were calling me an imperialist of one flavour or another, which was lovely. Yeah.
Wow.
I try not to be.
To be fair, like with all the monarchy memorabilia behind you.
That's right, yeah.
Kind of
that's it. The real king, yeah.
King Eric is right behind you.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying my family history can be dated back to Edward II, which is the 13th century, right? So and my grandfather did a lot of, he was very interested in this. So I may be wrong, maybe the wrong king there, but there's some lineage anyway. So I should probably pay reparations, at least to the people of Britain whose wealth my family at one point stole and then lost, apparently, because,
wow,
I'm not of the landed classes.
The intelligence of these bot farms these days, like, no wonder people are scared of AI. If they know this, they're mad.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, I've fessed it up now as well. So, wow, I've got it coming. Anyway, so we're going to take on a few questions. We'll probably try and clump them into blocks of Qatar, Ineos takeover type stuff, players and transfers. It's pretty much the two main blocks, and other rando questions. Not too many silly ones. So they like if Paul was on here and people knew it, they'd ask nonsense because he loves that stuff. But apparently we're too serious for that.
I remember someone asking about my favourite crisps last year. I think that's that question that stayed in my head longest.
It's got to be a ruffle, hasn't it? It's one of those ridge ones. It's got to. What is your favourite crisp?
I think I said like pickled onion monster.
That's a good choice.
Year. I think
It's the OG daddy of good crisps, that one. Oh, yeah.
It is. I'm also massively into those Walker's Max Flaming Hot.
Oh,
I think they're delicious.
Good. They're totally different crisps here in the US. So Walkers are called Lay's because I think it's all part of the same. So they're pretty much the same. And then there's a bunch of other weird stuff. Quite like there's one called Takis, which are, I'm sure, absolute trash, but they're kind of spicy. So, yeah. Not I eat a lot.
I used to love the red hot Cheetos if ever I went to America.
Cheetos.
But then you just get them all.
They do dye your fingers,
grains into your hand. Yeah. And it doesn't come off for days. It just goes all in my clothes because I'm also one of those messy eaters where if it gets on my hands and I just put it, like I'm literally a child. And it all goes down my clothes and then it's like, oh, God. Nightmare. I'm a nightmare of a human.
Poor form. All right, get some questions. So, for those of you on the video feed, I will be moving my head to my other screen. If I put this one out, I've never actually put a full pod out on the video, but 75% of listeners want us to do it. So, maybe for the new season, I ran a poll. So,
you're like Xavi in midfield, then I guess, like always
scanning. Yeah. On this occasion, scanning for questioners. So, Stretford Ender Rising says, "What are the key areas of focus for the new owner in the first or second months post takeover?" Yeah, cleaning house, I imagine. So it depends. If it happened today, which it won't, it would be transfer window, wouldn't it? Just signing off on stuff, which I assume Murtaugh and team are planning, but it's not going to get cleared that quickly. So the owners and directors test can only be cleared after the takeover is done. So if the deal was done today, if it's Jassim Qatar bid, they would delist. That actually takes a while, although you can run a special purpose vehicle to do it of some kind. And so you create a company, buy the shares with that company off the Glazers, and then go and delist. Then you can start thinking about like management stuff, owners and directors, and then get signed off. So my betting is if the deal got done today, it wouldn't be done in time for the new season anyway. Could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. And that's without any political pushback. I don't know. Beyond that, it's management stuff, isn't it? CEO, C-level positions, look at the football department. Won't happen straight away, but I bet it would happen within the first year.
Yeah, and I would probably think that I was about to say Brailsford then.
Oh yeah,
Jesus, I think Brailsford would 100% be.
Dave would come with his pouches. So our injury list would clear up miraculously, sort of thing.
It would be very interesting. I feel like Ratcliffe would probably be a little less wholehearted in these changes. I feel like it'd keep a lot of people in the same positions, but I think the Qataris, I feel like they'd bring in all their new people and just all the people who want to, who they want basically to be the few, I don't know, yes men probably. If they're going to run the way that they've run PSG with I guess a real focus on the Neymars and Messi and Mbappe kind of types of players, I think they'll probably bring in all their own yes men.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Ratcliffe would probably be a little less likely to do that kind of thing, but I don't know.
It's looking at the respective of looking at OGC Nice and Paris Saint-Germain, very different. I mean, Ratcliffe and team, there's a good piece by Adam Crafton actually in the Athletic sort of deep dive on Ineos's role at Nice. It's not been a great time, honestly, over 4 seasons. I mean, some of it disrupted by COVID. I don't know what to make of that exactly how that changed what they did, but there was a bit of chaos there, a lot of promises of big stuff that didn't really come to pass, and a lot of what seemed like hands-on management, more hands-on than you'd want to be, really. They have appointed a director of football now. They did it late last year, and I think that, to me, seems like a sign of they'll step back and let the football department do the talking there, and that's an important, and it took the Glazers 17 years to do that, so they managed it in 3. To realise that perhaps just because you know about, it's billionaire dickhead syndrome, isn't it? Just because you know about oil and gas and petrochemicals doesn't mean you know about how to run a football club. So Paris Saint-Germain, I don't actually remember, so I probably should look back on exactly what they did. I mean, when did Al Khalifi come in? Was he straight away? So
yeah, I'm not sure.
And he is very hands-on. So yeah. Anyway, I expect some cleaning of house. I don't think Richard Arnold will survive. There may be some stability there for a little bit, but he's got no long-term future. So. Can you explain the takeover saga? Says Tarek Amir, friend of the pod, as if it were MCU Star Wars universe. Your choice of expanded universe or DCEU? No, I wouldn't pick that one. I don't know how you'd explain it in terms of Batman.
This is definitely you because I don't know.
I know. I was thinking about this one.
Those things. I'm sorry.
Oh, obviously, Malcolm Glazer is the Emperor, obviously. And we're just wondering whether he's actually dead or not. I mean, so is he really pulling the strings in the background? And Joel Glazer is Darth Vader, clearly. He is the major baddie. And I mean, who are the rebels here in this? This is the fans, right? The fans are the rebels. So
that's true.
So I don't know who Luke Skywalker is exactly. So maybe it's you. You're going to come in.
Am I guess maybe. Do I look like him in the early days? Maybe when I was a little bit younger, I might have looked like him a little bit.
Can you wield a large sword?
But that means like Joel Glazer's my dad, doesn't it?
That's true. Maybe he is.
God.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Tom, I am your father.
God. I've got enough childhood trauma as it is.
I don't know who Ineos and Ineos are clearly the First Order or something like that, or maybe that's the Qatari. They're the baddies about to come in. Sorry, this is probably a crap answer, wasn't it? I should have thought about it more deeply.
I don't want to say I don't know what you're talking about, but I kind of don't know what you're talking about. I know Darth Vader. I know him. I've heard of Luke Skywalker, but anything else is kind of going completely over my head. I'm sorry.
That James Boy says, if there was a choice between Qatar, Ineos and liquidation, Who do you support after liquidation? Oh dear. I mean, it kind of gets to the fact there aren't any good choices here. I do think there are levels. I mean, and clearly people have their own opinions on this, but for me, a state-run bid, and I'm just going to repeat, it's definitely a state-run bid, despite some high-profile folks trying to pour scorn and doubt on that one. I don't know. State-run bid for me is obviously much worse. I don't know. The more I've spent thinking about Ineos and looking into what they do, and obviously I spoke to the folks at Client Earth the other week, and it's clearly not a great company. It's, of course, it's nasty pollution in all its areas of operation. That is important for the planet. So, but it's not. I mean, Qatar is like in the top 10 of fossil fuel reserves on the planet. So, like, when it comes to environmental catastrophe, they're definitely worse as well. Anyway, your thoughts?
And the types of guys who are going to be lobbying for decades and decades to come, pouring fuel onto the fire, excuse the pun, of basically pushing the agenda that climate change is just a hoax, which basically anyone from the fossil fuel industry does.
Well, weren't they chairing the recent like COP summit, the Qataris? So, or was that the Saudi? I can't remember. It's one of the major fossil fuel producing countries who's chairing the COP summit, which is just ridiculous. But
yeah, but like you say, to me, I completely agree that there's no comparison between the two, and it's always going to be the lesser of two evils in this type of scenario. Like throughout football history, we've had people using football teams for political reasons. I mean, you look at like Mussolini in the 30s and Franco with Real Madrid, like Berlusconi, who obviously has died very recently, used football basically to become the prime minister of Italy, or was the president? I can't remember, but like it's happened throughout history. It's not like this is just a new phenomenon. I guess it's a little bit newer to English football in the way it's happening, and obviously especially with state bids, which is to another level. So it's not like we're just kind of becoming aware of, oh my god, no way, like people are using our beautiful game. I hate
as a manipulative tool.
Almost.
I mean, look, sport's been used since Roman times. You know, what Roman every consular or emperor who came in used games as a way of like showing their greatness and manipulating the masses. So you're right. It's nothing new.
So it's not like
in Premier League.
No, and it's not like football was like pure before all this. But I think we do have to kind of see the lesser of two evils, and kind of people, in my opinion, say like comparing the two like they're apples and apples. I just think that's just completely disingenuous and like showing true signs of cognitive dissonance and people being completely okay with that. And I guess just parking their morals for footballing success, which I think we've spoken about this before, that like, I guess, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I don't think you should be. I hate the fact that if you're parking your morals and you're just concentrating on the football, I'm not going to judge you in any way for doing that. But then when you're kind of judging us for having a moral side, and you're basically having a go or being self-righteous, almost like thinking that we're some kind of, well, I don't know, we're being self-righteous by actually like standing up for something we believe in. That's what angers me so much. Like, if you don't care, you don't care, but you don't have to have a go at us for caring.
Yeah, it has been interesting, that, hasn't it? A few prominent voices. I mean, I'm deep inside the Twitter sphere here, but a few prominent voices on Twitter sort of having a go, or like things like saying cry more is another one, isn't it? Like of people who don't want a state-run bid, and like it's a victory over your rivals or something. It's, you know, with all the sort of noise about the Qatari bid having been successful. I find that very, very odd. Like, it's an extension of the weaponization of fans I didn't quite expect in that way.
And it's happened so fast.
Yeah, it really has.
They've not even taken over the club at the moment. And like,
the other thing I don't really understand about it, like,
ferocity of
yeah,
it.
it is really, the ferocity and the kind of, it's, I mean, it's making fans to be in a way, but not quite against each other like this.
I didn't expect them to be so ferocious. I didn't expect people to be so ferocious at each other, like you say, like so angry at other United fans for having a different opinion, and having evidence to back up the opinion and facts to back up the opinion. That's what seems to like rile these types of people. It's like you come up with a great argument, like you have done plenty of times on this podcast, and also having people on the podcast who know about this in such depth, and that angers people so much. I just don't get it. And like you say, it is Twitter. It's not real life. If I see someone in real life who wants to have the Qataris as our new owner, I don't get into some massive, ferocious, aggressive argument with them. We just have a nice, well, not nice chat. Sometimes it might get a little bit heated, but it doesn't mean that like it doesn't happen in the same type of way with personal insults, or it kind of just, you respect that person's opinion for what it's worth. You disagree, but like I know it's kind of just the same old argument or discussion point where social media just completely heightens and makes people crazy, but it's so exhausting. It's the reason why I barely go on there anymore, to be honest. I just don't want to be involved in the discourse, and I admire you for getting involved in it the same way you do, and like people like Miguel Delaney and Daniel Story and Adam Crafton, who are relentless on Twitter with it, relentless with their journalism on it. And despite the backlash that they get, not just from United fans, but from Newcastle fans, from City fans, from, I guess, fans from clubs all over the world.
Miguel got accosted at the Champions League final, didn't he? So, which is the danger, right? Like such.
Yeah. It doesn't, but obviously it initiates on Twitter, but like people's anger, it's not just kept to the social media side. It's like, it's a feeling that you feel inside your chest. It makes your blood pressure boil, and then people just take that into real life, and those lines start to become more and more blurred between social media and real life. And it starts to have real life impacts, like in so many different ways. It's obviously not just football, but like you think it's like the incel movements or whatever type of extremist movements that exist as well. Like, and just football has just become so toxic online. And this is just what obviously we've seen with United.
Well, there seems to be quite a tight vein between the Twitter blue tick incels and the Qatari flag lot. Honestly, I mean, that's
and that's what is great. I guess,
I'm not calling you all incels, folks, but
and that's what's great about the new verification system on Twitter. Is you can just ignore everyone with a blue tick. Yeah. You can ignore everyone with a blue tick, which is beautiful. Thank you, Elon.
Yeah. It's
no offense if you got a blue tick, but you probably a dick.
Glacier MUFC says, if you knew the club was to be sold in 8 to 10 years, would you still be as against Qatar? I'm asking because you and the guest mentioned on a previous pod that waiting 6 to 7 years for facilities to get upgraded would be worth it in your eyes if it meant no Qatar. I mean, I do agree with that. I'm not sure we said it quite like that, but I think it would take longer for Ratcliffe to raise the finance to rebuild or renew Old Trafford. But I don't see it as a desperate rush, actually. I mean, Old Trafford is not going to fall over tomorrow. It still holds 73,000 people. Yes, it needs to be improved, but it's not. It is holding the club back in a sense. But it's not as desperately urgent as putting money into the team. Both need to be done, clearly. So I think that's well worth it. And I don't think it would take that long either. Like, Ratcliffe can borrow that much money without any kind of problem, and it would pay for itself. In my view, I think the economics stack up. I mean, you've certainly seen that at Tottenham. They really do stack up. And I mean, but Ineos is a 65 billion euro a year enterprise. Ratcliffe and his co-founders are personally worth about £40 billion between them. Like, the finance is not a problem here. I know a lot of nonsense is said on Twitter about this, but it's just not. It's like, you can't be that wealthy and it'd be a problem. You just borrow money because it's well cheaper than liquidating your equity in the company that's actually doing really well, right? So that's, anyway. No, it wouldn't change my mind anyway. I didn't answer the question. Wouldn't change my mind. I don't want a state-run club. And plus, if the Qataris buy it, they're here forever until the political winds change. So.
Yeah, and what happens then if they just pull the plug?
Well, yeah. Don't know.
Especially in 20 years down the line where, I don't know, maybe the bubble of football has burst a little bit. Like,
maybe, or their political ambitions have changed, or they get aligned with the Iranians because the Saudis threaten to walk into Doha again. Right? It's not a wild speculation either. Like, the plans were drawn up. Hey, that can all happen. The risk for United in geopolitical terms. I try to say this on Twitter and people are like, well, why are you blaming the Qataris? I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying there's bloody risk. It's a massive red flag. So your owners could get invaded. It's not good. Not good for them and not good for the club.
God, imagine the Newcastle fans and United fans on Twitter. Like, if a war kicked off.
Yeah, well, because the UAE were aligned with the Saudis.
It'd just be like Russia and Ukrainians on on Twitter, like just going at each other, isn't it?
The proxy war in the Premier League would become a hot war, and Jesus. I mean, I know we're sort of being trite about it, but it's the plans were go read it. They were drawn up. Part of the blockade was they were seriously considering invasion. So that's how touch and go this was. Flynn says, one all NQAT fans want to know, will you continue if Qatar take over United? All the easy questions, hey. I know people keep asking me this. I'm not, and like a few people have positioned it in a kind of gotcha. Like, would you take over and keep profiting after the Qataris take over? I don't know exactly. It depends what the appetite is for us having this kind of conversation where we talk about the real stuff all the time, right? Because in my view, following a state-run club makes it quite plastic. And it's not to say all fans would be plastic, but it's just like there's a tarnish. There's something not real about that because you're then a tool of their PR. And it's not the same. And you have to compartmentalize and say, hey, everything the club stood for before, good and bad, is thrown out the window. We're only here to serve one purpose now. And so that's why I say it feels quite plastic. So I don't think like cheering on United goals and cups would ever be the same again, honestly. Would we continue the pod? It just depends if there's appetite for us having a real conversation or not, I think. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have to really think about it. It's not like... I mean, I'm sure people aren't going to be devastated if I go or anything. It's not going to make a massive difference to the world. But I just think inside of myself, I'm not 100% sure whether I want to continue support. It's not about the pod. It's more about continued support United.
Yeah, sure.
And therefore would mean I wouldn't be on the pod. But it's a really difficult question to answer because, like you say, it would feel plastic. Like, City's success is completely felt synthetic. A lot of them winning the Champions League 2 weeks ago or whenever it was last week, didn't hit as hard to me as it would have done if Liverpool had won the Champions League the season before. Like, I was so nervous going into that Champions League final. It wasn't even the treble.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, it just feels like, this whole experience is completely synthetic. You've not done it. Like, it's so synthetic because it's inevitable. Like, your success is inevitable because of what you have in place. You have all the money in the world. You're cheating the system, so you're not even abiding by the same rules. You've been able to just completely create a system which fits for this manager who is, I guess, in fairness to him, a freak because of just how good he is. So you're not playing by the same rules. And I don't know how you can really cheer it on in the same way. Like, even their stadium feels completely fake because they were given it by the council, 15, 16 years ago. Like, it's just such a plastic club. It feels like...
Yeah.
it feels like there's a club in Hungary called Puskás Academy, and they basically have no fans at all. And they were a club that were built by Orban in his home village,
Right.
because he wanted to have a stadium next to his childhood home. And it feels exactly the same type of thing. Like, their stadium doesn't fill out in the way that City doesn't fill out. They're really successful. They've got a great academy, but no one actually like thinks that they're doing any good, because like they're just a completely synthetic operation.
Didn't you know, Tom? The City put this out there. They've got 120,000 people on their season ticket waiting list, apparently. So I'm sure that's just filling out a form on the internet. So
they're those people from the bot farm who were slagging you off. They're the same people, probably.
I mean, I totally agree with that.
And I feel like United would be very similar. The only thing is that we
have the history.
Success won't be inevitable. And success won't be inevitable, because we'll be basically competing with the
other state clubs,
other state clubs. But like, it's still not the same, and I don't know how people can feel like it's the same, being just a political tool. I don't know if people will feel like it's the same, or people are just going to pretend it like it.
Well, look,
I don't know.
I mean, look at the Premier League altogether. It's got to the point where it's hard to feel like we see football clubs not only as entertainment but a community asset, right? I think everyone who's a fan agrees with that. It's more important than just some other entertainment business. Like, none of us would like wait on the edge of our seats to see whether the local cinema chain was like going to succeed in their opening weekend. Like, I don't know what the right analogy is here, right? It's not this. Like, even pop stars and stuff, and people do get like really invested in that. It's not quite the same kind of community feel, and so it is really important. But look at the top six now. United about to be taken over, it seems, by a state. Newcastle run by a state. City run by a state. Chelsea, Saudi-backed private equity fund. Right? People don't talk about that either. The amount of money in that private equity fund from Saudi. Arsenal, American financier. Arsenal fans are happy right now, but for most of the time Kroenke's been in charge, they hate him and they want him out. So Liverpool, owned by a private equity consortium, like, who couldn't give a shit about the fans and kept showing it. Yeah. So and many Liverpool fans, despite their success, want Fenway out as well. So, like, none of them have respected the community, really. I mean, very few clubs in the Premier League now do. I mean, I think I'm right in saying that 10 of the Premier League are owned by Americans now, and there's a mix of other stuff. And I'm not saying you have to be British to understand the community at all. Like, I'm not saying that. You can be a really good owner and like understand that what these assets mean to people. But I think there's so many of the Premier League just couldn't give a shit about the fans anymore. It's a vehicle for profit making or political motives, and that's, if United get taken over by Qatar, it's clearly a vehicle for their soft power motives. It's not the same at all. If it's Ineos, it's kind of a good question, isn't it? Is it because it's Ratcliffe's legacy and he really is a local boy done good and wants to, he said similar things. He said, I wouldn't be in it for the money, basically. I'm summarizing, but that's what he said. Like, you don't do this. And he said, when buying a football club, it's not rational to look at the price. And what he was saying there is, like, he's a rational investor, value investor, always has been since his private equity days. And this is the one thing he would buy that is not sensible, right? So it suggests to me he'd be doing that for some kind of, whether it's legacy, his own PR motives. I'm less convinced by the greenwashing idea, although it's clearly true. I mean, I listened to the pod I did with Klein Earth. There's clearly some aspect to that with Ineos, but I don't know. I'm talking myself into, like, it's all doom and gloom, football's destroyed, but it might not be far off, like what's happened to golf happening in football, where states start buying into leagues, and then what does any of it mean then?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people on Twitter kind of think, oh, if we can't beat them, join them. But I just think we should, in life, we should think better than that, because if you just have that same philosophy for everything that happens in life. Like, where is it going to get us? It's probably going to get us to where we are right now, where like I don't want to say the whole world's fucked, but like you just look at like the whole of where the world's going. Like it's not on a good trajectory, and having opinions like this in matters that are so important. And I know we always kind of say it's only football, but like this is a huge institution in the grand scheme of things. And if you're going to have this opinion about this type of institution, like, yeah, it's really worrying and troubling, like where the world is going, not just football, but the world in general. And yeah, I feel like football is probably at a point of no return anyway. Someone, I think, replied to one of the questions on here by saying the point of no return was 1992, which maybe is true in some respects with the launch of the Champions League, the launch of the Premier League, and how that's made the world, the footballing world, so unequal. Like, was equality everything in football? Probably not, but like the inequality now is obviously a point of no return. You look at football nations around the world, like how far they have to catch up. Like, will an African football team ever win the Champions League, win the World Cup? Probably not. They've improved so much, but like the way that European football is going to continue to get better because they have so much money to pour into player development and science. And it's almost incredible that Argentina have won one, because I feel like South American football is probably going to go down the same way as Europe centralizes basically all the money. I mean, Saudi obviously have jumped in now, but like the footballing world is so unequal. And now going this way with the introduction of, the introduction, I guess, was 2003 with Roman Abramovich, of people using football as soft power in such a blatant way, and no one even pushing back.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, I find it really scary, to be honest. And there's a lot of me that when I speak to non-footballing people, is almost a little bit embarrassed by liking football because of how toxic it is in the world. Yeah. And
although, Tom,
and just
most
to
people
say
don't think about
United,
it in those terms. They just see it. They don't think
about
it.
They don't. And people want footballing success. And I completely agree. I completely can understand that, because like, it's such an escapism, and I don't want people to lose their Man United, because it's one of the most important things that has been in my life for 30 years. But like, I guess there are bigger things than footballing success.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have about 1 million other questions on takeover and stuff, but I think we covered most of the points. Yeah. I like you, I do worry for the future of football. It does seem to be going down a route where inevitably, like, nefarious money pours in, whether it's private equity funds. There are now 27 multi-club networks in Europe. 27, right? And like, we all think of City and Red Bull, but there are many others. Whoever takes over United, it's going to be a multi-club network. So, and
it's just, and like, it goes back to that point where I make, where like Europe is just this, like, basically wrecking the rest of the world by
consolidating all the wealth and talent,
like the Brazilian clubs, like Red Bull, Brasilia, or wherever they're from in Brazil, and Melbourne City, and a team in China, a team in Japan, and just nicking all their players for cheap money, and then just it's grim.
It's very dark. All right, let's get on to some lighter questions. I don't think there are any. Looking at this, Ben Hudson.
Man, I feel like I need it.
What are your thoughts on Mike LUHG and his ilk? I mean, honestly, I find him kind of.
This is live.
I know. I find him quite funny. He's a troll. He's actually quite a good troll. He's quite creative with it, and he's very dogged. But yeah, I don't take him seriously.
Social media is this thing, isn't it, that basically rewards people for having the most extreme opinion. I mean, there's obviously people that make it to the top of and gain loads and loads of followers because they do offer insight, they do offer quality. I guess they're writing stuff and people want to be interested in them. Like tactics bloggers are massive on Twitter because they're offering so much insight. But then you also have these people, I guess, like Katie Hopkins or Piers Morgan, Lawrence Fox, who gained so much notoriety basically through his madness on Twitter. And then you've got Mike LUHG, who's basically the same type of guy. He's basically just coming in relentlessly extreme with all his opinions. And yeah, if you take him seriously, then I guess it's is it your own fault? But just don't fall for the bait. It's like a guy in like a WhatsApp group who's always like prodding you. Just don't fall for it.
I know. I try not to. I mean, I used to get quite angry actually. And I don't mean Mike LUHG. I just generally like the discourse on Twitter and get involved with stuff. And I do reply to people who are not just in broadcast mode, but now I just feel a bit more rational about it. And I don't get involved in fights. Or at least I don't feel like I'm getting involved in fights. I think I'm quite logical in my responses and stuff like that. And I think that's the best way to be if you're going to engage in social media. If you get angry all the time, whether it's about politics or sport or whatever, culture war type stuff, you are kind of screaming into the void. And if you take the approach that you're not going to convince anyone, basically, then if you get involved in the discourse, just realize you're not going to, no one's going to go, oh yeah, you know what, you were right all along. I was big Qatar in, and now I realize what you're saying. So it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's like, what are you going to achieve really? Like I used to be exactly the same. I think also like if it caught me on a bad day or I've just had a really busy day and then I check my Twitter, and then I used to buy like immediately, or I used to also go through this period of my life where I thought it was good to argue. I think like Socrates, when he was like, throughout his whole life, he basically just spent his time going through like the city and basically just arguing all day.
Picking arguments,
and so that made him like smarter, so he could like, work out like how people thought or like work out different philosophies and work out the answers to stuff.
Yeah, but in the end, they made him drink some hemlock, so it's like...
I think I read that once, and then I used to do it myself, and it was just arguing with people constantly. And like you say, like I got to the point eventually where I was like, what am I achieving with this, apart from like boiling my blood pressure every day and like, making myself, I guess, severely depressed by just being constantly angry and annoyed at other people and my life.
If you like the show, the way you can support us best is by leaving us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And it really doesn't matter what you say in that review either. You can say you'd rather we talked about Manchester City and Liverpool. Just hit those 5 stars. Many thanks. Gus L says, is it ethically sound to sell Mason Greenwood for a decent transfer fee? All the good questions here, folks.
This is football right now. This is 21st century football.
I mean, the idea that United would just... I just find it impossible, the idea that they'd just sack him. They'd have done it by now.
Yeah.
So, and like, I'm not saying this is my view, but he's a £100 million player. They're not, it's just not going to destroy that value because another football club will pick him up in microseconds. So is it ethical to sell him? No, probably not. Like, he hasn't been charged with a crime. He's not guilty, clearly, in legal terms. Moral and ethical terms, that's another question. So, but if they sell him, it's because they don't believe he should be at the club. If they don't believe he should be at the club, it is kind of morally wrong to profit off that, isn't it?
Yeah, but we have just had a discussion about like billionaires, and billionaire class, and the people that run football and the people who are in charge of football clubs. Their morals in general are, to be nice, like questionable. Yeah. So it's not like they're just gonna like develop this.
Oh God! I mean, like the Qataris.
But then I guess it becomes like
go look at the legal system around women in Qatar, right? Yeah. They'd have a moral problem. I mean, depends. Maybe local PR aspect would factor into this.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Neymar wearing like rainbow shirts, right? It's like what they do locally and what they do at home, two different things completely. Ineos, I mean, they got petrochemicals deal in Saudi Arabia, like they pollute everywhere. They're in multiple lawsuits. I mean, honestly, it's like, I can't imagine anyone there giving a shit. I think the aspect it'll come down to is like, do the club think they can get away with reintegrating him? It's where I think we're at.
Yeah. Is this a good look for the football club right now is kind of the question. And the thing is,
it's not the right question, is it?
Greenwood, no. If Greenwood was integrated into the team, though, there'd be loads of people who would be happy with that. Of course. Like, you see the discourse on Twitter and how much that has changed over the past 18 months and how much that has changed since the charges were dropped. Like, it's scary how many people want Mason Greenwood back. I almost feel on Twitter, which I know is a bubble and shouldn't be where you shouldn't be seeing like what that's definitely the right opinion. But I feel like most people I see on there want Greenwood back in the team.
Yes, and it's not just the Andrew Tate crowd, is it? It's like sensible.
No,
I mean, the fact that he wasn't found guilty.
There's probably a lot of this swap over between those people and Qataris.
I know. I wonder what the Venn is.
Venn diagram. Yeah.
I mean, what would it take for you to change your mind? Because at the moment, like, I saw the pictures and I heard the audio. I want that kind of player at the club, as brilliant as he is, and he's a brilliant player. And, I could really do with him. Imagine him at number 9. You forget all the other stuff, which I'm not. But you can easily see why Ten Hag would want him back. Instant fit.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant player.
Yeah.
Great, like, massive potential. All of that. You can see why people want him back from football. Like, what would it take from a moral point of view for you to change your mind?
Genuinely nothing. I think that everyone deserves like a second chance in life. Like, it's not like I would kind of be of the opinion where I'll chuck him in jail and throw away the key kind of thing. But like, I don't think that second chance needs to be at the top level of football where it's kind of just which basically signifies a massive fuck you to the female population. I don't, for me, I don't, and I guess I have a different opinion to a lot of people. For me, there's no potential road back. I think to play professional football again, I'm not sure, but I think potentially yes. If he came back and was, I don't know, because I don't know how we could say, I'm sorry, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry for what I've done. Sorry.
Yeah.
When the charges were dropped and he has done nothing wrong.
I don't see how he can confess. Yeah. So.
No, and also if the woman comes out and says he did nothing wrong, like, I guess in some regards, like, maybe on the face of it, we should believe her, but then also, like, powerful men manipulate women
all the time.
Especially abusers, especially like a vulnerable woman in this scenario. Like, it's hard to take her on face value. So that's why I think it's like, for me, it's really difficult to say there's any way back, that any reason why Mason Greenwood should come back to the football club. I really struggle with it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand where you come from. And I thought about this, like, what happens if because it was floated, this idea that he would go and do a TV interview and tell his side, sort of thing. But like, what can he say there? He could either say, look, nothing happened, don't know what you're talking about. And people would take that, and I feel it's totally disingenuous, probably. So, or he could say, look, I did some bad stuff. She's found a way to forgive me. I hope you can too. I'm really sorry. I don't know how he could say that, because he would basically be confessing to something. So it's like, that's the only route to some kind of moral path back, isn't it? To admit his wrongdoing, to say he's like fixing it, to beg for a second chance, and to say that my future wife-to-be and mother of my child has forgiven me, and I hope you can too, right? That's the only path back. And then to dedicate the rest of these footballing days working on like programs like that are trying to solve violence against women. I mean, even then, is it acceptable? I just...
I mean,
if he became a campaigner,
I guess if you,
like, would it be okay then? Like, do we want to give people second chances, right? But it's just like...
it's a good question, and also like if you are making the best out of a really, really bad situation in this scenario as well, what's actually going to be achieved by punishing him? Whereas, like you say, if he does become a campaigner and a real voice for truth, then wow, that's a huge step forward. But then also on the flip side of that, like, well, you should be serving time then. Like, you should have received some type of punishment. And the only punishment that he would have actually received is 2 years out of the game, like 18 months out of the game, which some people get for having a bad injury. Like, he wouldn't have received any punishment.
Yeah.
Like, is 18 months out of the game punishment enough for what he would have committed?
I mean, some people do think that, and the
me.
reputational damage. Yeah, I'm not saying I do. I know some people do think that that's sufficient punishment. I'm not really a throw away the key type person, but as in, like, the prison system doesn't really work in the way that we think it does. It's a whole different pod, many different pods on that. But and so it's not just about kind of retribution, punishment. It's got to be about Greenwood understanding what's happened and what he's done and its impact, not just on him, but on the thousands of women that do suffer from domestic abuse and violence every year. And we haven't seen any of that yet. And I understand the legal and the contractual reasons for that not happening. And I assume that's what they're working through at the club. But, you know, I don't know. It seems like they're going to work a way of getting him a loan abroad for a year, and he'll come back in 24, and they're just going to kick the can down the road to see if that's an acceptable path back. And in 24, can they then reintegrate into the team with, I presume, a new contract, because he's out of contract in 25.
And you also got to think for the woman as well in this scenario that, like, 18 months out of the game for Greenwood is the punishment. He comes back, goes on loan to wherever, and then comes back to United in 2 years. Like, she's going to be scarred for life for what she's gone through. Will she feel the same way ever again?
I don't know.
Like, you talk
somehow,
you hear a lot about
seems to have forgiven abuse. Him, or at least didn't want to. I mean, they're still together, so. But and I realise there are a lot of reasons why that could be the case. Including some very dark and nefarious ones.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of domestic abuse cases, this similar type of thing happens, like for so many reasons, which experts better qualified than me will be able to report on. But yeah, it's obviously an argument that a lot of people have, and they use that as an excuse for Greenwood coming back. But yeah, it's such a difficult one, and like it's such a nuanced conversation that even us talking about it for 10 minutes, we can't really explore every detail to it and every kind of avenue to it. It's so difficult. And yeah, I think whatever solution United come up with won't be the right one this 100%. It won't be the right one in someone's eyes.
All right, JJ says, what's the impact of the takeover on our transfer plans? I'm sticking this into the transfer bucket as a question. Do we have enough to get what we need? You see, I don't think it has any impact, because United's budget is set mostly by FFP constraints, which are this year 90% of revenues minus allowable expenses, so stuff on capital expenses and so on. Capital expenses, women's team, in costs and deductions and stuff like that, right? So 90%, which is a fairly healthy budget, but United spent a lot. So I think it's done on a rolling basis. Eventually it will be. There's this kind of sliding thing. It was 100%, 90%, 80%. We're eventually going to get down to 70% of revenue is allowed to be spent on footballing things, transfers, agents, fees, and wages. So it's not answering your question. I really don't know all the costs they'll take out. That's the problem. So everyone who's saying like 100, 120, 150, they're guesstimating. Because it could be doing an Everton here and just miraculously finding some costs that didn't really exist. Everton, by the way, very, very naughty what they've done. I think we haven't heard the last of that. So do we have enough to get what we need? I don't think so. I think United would have to get some pretty big fees for transfers out. But it's got really nothing to do with the takeover. So, I know there was a press report that said United would get an extra 50 million because they wouldn't be spending it on interest. That's actually not United's cost on interest. Dividends are paid after profits from the group company. It doesn't impact FFP at all. It just doesn't. Like none of it. It doesn't matter. That was all wrong. Anyway, we don't have enough is the answer. We need a massive fee for Harry Maguire. What do you reckon the chances are of that?
Well, Saudi, like this is our opportunity to use.
They don't pay transfer fees though to the Saudi Pro League.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Henderson's. They're talking about 20 million, aren't they?
And I think that'd be a fair fee for him.
30.
I mean, he'd be more than that if he hadn't been out for so long and. If you sold him after that great season he'd had with Sheffield United, you'd get a really good fee for him. So.
Yeah, or if he'd continued in the same form he'd had for the rest of last season until he got injured.
Yeah,
and that's also good for the moratorium thing because obviously he's an academy player. So
yeah, the amortization. Yeah. Yes, he goes straight on your. This is why Chelsea are going to sell a bunch of
Mason Mount.
Yeah. Mac says, Harry Kane being unattainable, which striker should we be in for, hypothetically, assuming we have the money, because it seems like we probably won't. God, there's so many questions. I don't know this Højbjerg guy. I've barely ever seen him apart from like highlights reels, so no idea. Seems like Atalanta are asking for a big fee as well, so... Randall Kolo Moani, I've seen more of. He's a good player, but I honestly thought he looked better in kind of wider positions than through the centre.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't know about that. Marcus Thuram's available on a freebie. Again, I think he's probably he's definitely a tier down from Harry Kane. But free.
Yeah. We've got to be looking at someone who's going to score the amount of goals that Harry Kane is going to score, or maybe 5 goals or so less a season. And there's so few players obviously out there who even have the potential to do that.
Yeah.
Like you look at Osimhen, obviously he's like one of the big ones.
Yeah. And he would be like in Ten Hag's words, like no risk, right? That's apparently what he's saying, no risk.
Yeah. It sounds like Napoli are gonna want a huge sum.
More than our summer budget.
Maybe
yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like Ramos, obviously at Benfica, who looks great. But then you kind of look at like Nunes and how he's adapted this season from Benfica and making the same jump. I think Ramos is he's got softer feet and it's better at linking up play. And I think he's a better all-round player. I think he's more intelligent than
and he's not as wasteful.
Nunes, but no. And obviously, like he loves. He's a big game player. He scores in a lot of big games. He scored, I think, a couple in the last game of the season to win them the title, and obviously he scored a hat-trick in the World Cup on his debut, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like one of the best storylines ever with Ronaldo. And I think he'd be great. Like, and then I almost like think we have to sign 2 strikers. Like, there's no doubt about it. And I almost think like someone like Moukoko at Dortmund. I don't know how.
I like the look of him, but who knows?
It's just how do you prize him away from Dortmund?
Yeah.
But then a lot of those players, like a lot of Dortmund's players, have a release fee because that's the reason why they signed to Dortmund in the first place.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Haaland, Bellingham didn't even go for that much. Really.
I mean, it could be a lot with the add-ons, but yeah. Up front, it's only like 80 million.
For 19-year-olds who's as good as him, like, and yeah, but I guess, like I say, it's difficult. But 17, 18. That's what we need to be going for. We need to be going for like an established striker
and a young one,
and like an 18, 19-year-old.
Yeah,
Who's
I mean, I like the look of Makoko and Demi actually at Dortmund. Both of them look really good. Both raw and not ready to.
That's not lead the line on their own. Yeah, be the new savior up front.
Which what I've seen of Ramos, he probably could do. I don't know whether he's worth that kind of mega fee. I'm not sure. It's not certain in my mind that he's definitely a player who's going to score 20 league goals a season and 30 across all competitions and be that kind of quote unquote no risk. So,
and it's difficult as well because it's his first like full season being the number 9. How good is he going to be next year? And then also you think, maybe we should sign him this year because he'll be cheaper than he'll be next year if he has like an unbelievable season. Or like Real Madrid come in and sign him next summer or someone else, with huge money or like whatever. Like it feels like it's a risk to wait a season, but then it's also like I think we need to wait a season because it's a risk to sign him right now as well. That's always the problem with like players coming from those types of leagues as well, really. Like City have done it so well with this season with signing Haaland and then also signing Alvarez as the kind of the second choice because they're buying him from Argentina and giving him, there's no pressure at all to succeed. And he's been great doing that.
So Choupo-Moting it is from Bayern then. Yeah. I mean, somehow we achieved quite a bit this season having Wout Weghorst up front for a lot of the season. So just someone who's pretty reliable, good link-up player, doesn't have to be the elite is going to make a big difference to United. All things being equal.
Me into Ramos now.
So
you're talking me into Ramos, I think.
I don't know. It seems a risk. I mean, his numbers are good. He scores goals. He's high 90s percentile when benchmarked across top 5 leagues for goals, non-penalty goals. He's a good link-up player. He's got the raw skills. The translation for Portuguese football to the Premier League and a young player with not a track record, it's a mega risk. Just mega risk.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is.
All right. This is a good one. Park the Bus says, with the likely revival of Liverpool, the 2 state-run clubs flush with cash, Arsenal getting its act together, what would United require this window to move forward next year? This means top 4, deep run in the Champions League, tilt at another domestic cup. I mean, I think he's getting a good point in that you would think it's going to be really competitive. Like Newcastle clearly going to spend some money, I imagine. City apparently have a mega transfer budget. I mean, to make of that what you will. And they're obviously building from a very strong base. Liverpool, I'm sure, I mean, they've already done good business in McAllister at a very reasonable fee. He's a direct replacement for Jordan Henderson, basically. They're looking at other good players. I don't know why we went
in for him.
So, I know why we haven't moved for him. It's the same reason we haven't moved for anyone yet. So
it's true. It's true.
Yes, I mean, I was always kind of thought of him that he's like a good water carrier, but actually good water carriers are very useful and he'd be a good complement in the squad, wouldn't he? So
it would have been a great sign.
Chelsea under Poch, I know they're going to have another summer change because they have to sell players, but they will solve a lot of their FFP problems just selling Mason Mount. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek, they won't get as much for clearly, but it just solves a lot. Selling academy players, they can get through to next summer, and they'll probably sell 10 players, right? So, So I think they'll be stronger. Poch will have a very clear idea of what he wants. Liverpool revival, Arsenal, if they do get Rice, it's a mega upgrade in midfield. Despite all Arsenal fans saying Thomas Partey was the greatest midfielder ever. Funny that, like... It's so bizarre, that whole discourse. So, yes, he's going to be hyper-competitive, I think. So, and United need to fix quite a few holes. Goalkeeper, striker, backup in midfield, absolute musts for me.
Yeah. I think midfield is one of the biggest, to be fair. Like the way Casemiro and Eriksen dropped off towards the end of the year, that engine room that was so vital at the start of the season was just running on fumes towards the end. It just didn't look the same. And it needs to be revitalized with some legs and some quality. I think we need at least one centre midfielder, at least 2 strikers, probably a right back, goalkeeper. Who those players are. Newcastle have been really linked to Barella recently, and I think Luke Edwards at the Telegraph. Luke Edwards is a moron, by the way.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. Completely idiot. Yeah.
It really is.
I'm asserting my First Amendment rights as now as a citizen of the United States. No, I'm not a citizen. As a permanent resident of the United States, I have my First Amendment rights. He's a fucking idiot. I think they're the worst, actually. The Newcastle crowd.
Yeah,
honestly, all of them.
Yeah.
Edwards, Culkin, Shearer's not really a journalist, but kind of pretends to be these days. They are absolutely criminal. Not to go back to our previous questions, but Shearer said he'd hold them accountable. Not once. Fucking hypocrites, a lot of them. Completely co-opted.
Disgrace.
Yeah.
Disgrace.
That was an aside, wasn't it?
Yeah, he said that Barella or Newcastle are trying to get him, and Barella's kind of thinking about it. I think it'd be great signing for United. I think he'd be better than Mount.
Yeah. He's definitely better than Mount.
I hate Mount, but I think Barella, and cheaper, surely. Better attitude, better personality. I think he's a winner. Like you saw him in that Champions League final.
Yeah.
I love that type of personality. I think he'd be great. I think Szoboszlai again is being linked to Newcastle. Yeah. Absolute.
Where would he fit though in the United side with Bruno Fernandes? I mean, do you play him wider? Could he play 8?
He has played. He does play wide for Leipzig, but for Hungary, he kind of plays as an 8, and I think he's got the quality to play alongside someone like Casemiro. He's great defensively, honestly, so good defensively. Grew up in a Red Bull system, went to Salzburg at 16, then went to Leipzig. So he's got all that pressing ability through and through. He's better closer to goal because he's got so much quality. But I also think he could turn into a bit of a Goretzka. Goretzka before he went to Bayern, played a lot closer to goal, and Bayern built him into this tank
all round 8,
which I think someone who knew what they wanted to do with Szoboszlai could do that, and I think it'd be great for United. I said we should just. I've known about Szoboszlai since he was 15, because obviously I'm into Hungarian football quite a lot. But when we signed Van der Beek, I was like, why are we not signing Szoboszlai from Salzburg? And it'd just been perfect by then. But anyway, I think it'd be great.
Tom, raging hard on for Szoboszlai. So let's.
Oh my God, I am.
He's a good player. Yeah.
Fanboy.
He's a good player. I
and then
wonder
keeper,
about the position, but yeah.
Yeah, and then a keeper I don't know, Onana would have been great if.
I mean, he'd have been a free last summer. That would have been the time to do it. Onana.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player. He's very, very good with his hands. I think he's an all-round keeper. Big personality as well. Really does take responsibility for everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, David Raya I like as well.
Because you look at
he's going to Tottenham. Yeah. It's my question with Raya is does he have the brilliance? He's a good all-round keeper. I just pulling off something another keeper wouldn't. I'm not sure.
I think he's a bit like Lloris, but not quite as good. He's better with his feet than Lloris, but Lloris is a shot stopper. I think they're quite similar. I think I think that Unai Simon athletic as well.
Yeah,
I know he's made a few he's made a few high profile errors for Spain, but he's still their number one. He's really, really good keeper. Probably second best in La Liga behind Ter Stegen.
Yeah. Rich says, you can only have one player from previous teams up to 1990. Who do you go for with the current side? I was having to think about this one. Up to 1990, right? I mean, to be honest, I didn't really watch much football before about 1983. So I'm not sure I can remember much before then. So that only gives me a short window. And I think my answer is Brian Robson. So what about you? You're about 3 years old in 1990, weren't you?
Yeah. I was -2.
See, God, these young people, honestly, unbelievable.
From what my dad said, my dad was an absolute Robson fanboy, so it'd have to be him. I think. I think every time I watch a game with my dad, my dad would still talk about Robson in that centre midfield, and
I've had one. I
from
met
what?
Brian Robson once. Anyway, I loved him as a player. He's great. It's just such a shame he got injured so often. But it's like great defender, great all round, scores goals, perfect number 8 for this. I think he's the answer. So the hill I'm going to die on. Anyway, I met him once at that hotel next to Liverpool Street Station. I was interviewing him. I think I was the last interviewer of the day. He'd just been sacked as West Brom manager. Let's say he wasn't in the best mood, and he'd had quite a few by the time I got to him. I do have the notes. So it was fairly incomprehensible. I never published it. But I had a good chat with him for like an hour and a half. He was really nice, and he's just very chatty. Yeah. That's my one Brian Robson anecdote. Hendo says, how funny is it that Norway going 1-0 up versus Scotland via Haaland penalty, him getting subbed and Scotland winning? Well, I'm not a Scotland fan, but I do quite enjoy that. So,
but Scotland are great at the moment as well. Like, where does this come from?
Had a really good start to qualification. Yeah,
beat Spain, beating Norway away from home. They basically qualified. I think they're 8 points ahead of third. Well, they were after they won.
Yeah, this is Scotland though. They can Scotland this up. So.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, Mats Maladoni came on for Haaland, which is similar types of players.
Blast from the past, isn't it?
Absolute hero, United legend.
Did you see any of the England game? England versus Malta?
I watched until it was 1-0 and then I turned it off. And then I saw loads of people comparing Trent Alexander-Arnold to Messi because he can pass against Malta, a team where Joby Jones, who can't even get into the Notts County team in the 5th tier of English football, was starting for them. So,
yeah.
I mean, levels.
We do need to put it in perspective. It was a fine goal, Beckham-esque.
It was great.
In the wrong corner, but yeah. I have to say, I think I only really get semi-invested in England when it comes to the tournaments. The rest of it's quite dull.
Yeah.
So and I did notice that Luke Shaw was pictured with both Harry Kane and Declan Rice and showing them around the training ground at Carrington. Good try, Luke. I don't think either of those deals are going to happen, but a good try.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like European qualification, because obviously we've got it at the moment, and there are a lot of nothingy games. But I think I prefer that to like pre-qualification because it's only really the elite of the elite, like England, France, Germany, Spain, who really crush like these teams like Gibraltar and San Marino and Andorra. And why can't these type teams like compete against like the elite? And that, like, you look at Faroe Islands a few years ago, they like pulled up some great results against like bigger teams, and they've always been a minnow. Like I don't really like football's, as we've spoken about on this show, like football has enough of a barrier between like the elite and the minnows, and I think European qualification is quite nice in the fact that the minnows get a little bit of they're all starting on an equal level, and like the team from Andorra is never going to make it into the Champions League, and they're never going to play against the elite of world football. It's nice that they get an opportunity like this, and Andorra not that long ago beat Hungary after the Euros. These shocks do occur every now and again, and against England, obviously not.
Yeah, it'd be a real shame if they sort of conference leagued it.
Yeah,
where like they put all the minnows together in order to make the other qualification games more meaningful.
And like Iceland, for example, Iceland's only a country of 300,000. They used to be like a real minnow of European football, and they ended up having like a good. They're still not bad now, but obviously, a few years where they were really, really good. Like, I think football's there's enough of a barrier between the top teams and the minnows that we can, I guess, put up with these games, England versus Malta, every now and again.
Yeah.
Even though it's just
over here in the CONCACAF region, the US beat Mexico yet again. I think it's actually the Nations League rather than qualification for anything. Not that I care much about it, but I do find that there's a whole Greg Berhalter's come back as being the coach after all the shenanigans with Gio Reyna and
Wow.
Gio Reyna's mum. Yeah, it is quite funny watching American football or soccer Twitter freak out about that.
Yeah, there's good violence
stuff
in that USA-Mexico game as well, wasn't it?
I love a punch-up. Rip shirts, the whole lot. It's good.
Yeah, I guess Mexico are feeling a little bit down because they've been on top of USA for so long, and now it's kind of, tables have turned a little bit.
The LAFC lost the CONCACAF Champions League final to Club Leon, and the manager, whose name I forget now, said, it's because we don't have the resources or the money. But I actually think, looking at it, the MLS now is paying higher wages than Liga MX, and that didn't used to be the case. The new Apple deal will put the financial situation of MLS on about par with the Championship. So there you go. Crap though, it's really crap.
It is
so bad.
But are you going to go and watch Messi when he comes to Seattle?
Probably, yeah. Probably. I'm sure they'll fill out the stadium. 67,000 people. Yeah.
It sounds like
I'm sure he's going to enjoy playing on a plastic pitch as well. So.
To be fair, I do the same as him. Like, if you've played at the top level of European football for so many years, you might just go and have a holiday in Miami for a few years.
Miami Beach is great.
Have a
great load of fun. I don't think he's a big drinker, but it's
good for the
good for the fam. Yeah, it's a good lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have a very nice house, somewhere out in the sticks or on one of the keys.
Yeah.
So
it's better than living in
part of town, and
better than living in Riyadh as well.
On a compound.
In that oppressive heat as well. Like, it is not nice.
Oh, God, man. Miami's pretty bad because of the humidity.
Yeah.
And the hurricanes, depending on your time of year.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah. No, lifestyle's great. I'm sure it's not like he needs the money, honestly. So, and he's now bought into. They may even make the money out because he's got some equity.
Yeah.
May make it up. Yeah. So, don't blame him, really. All right. Have we covered everything? I don't think we got to everyone's questions, but I think we covered most of the takeover. Transfers, I think basically we're in a holding pattern. I know they'll have the budget, but they still need sign-off. And sign-off from the Glazers, maybe. They may be distracted. There may be some other discussions they're having at the moment. So, there you go. Enjoy it, folks. We'll be back with another one soon. I'm not sure what the plan is exactly. It's only about a month till United's kick off again, pre-season tour.
Wow.
So,
players haven't even had a break yet. They're still playing.
Still playing, yeah.
Still again. Is it Tuesday?
Monday, I think, for England, isn't
Monday,
it? And Tuesday for Is this a triple header? Have they got another one?
I think it's just two. I think
just the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible, really. They just don't get any kind of break. And I can't remember what the first game is. The first game in Oslo or Murrayfield or Dublin, one of those. And then they go off to the States for the 3 games in the States.
Yeah.
Or is it 4 games? They have the Wrexham game. They have the Dortmund game. They have the one against Arsenal. And the Real Madrid one in Houston.
Yeah.
So 4 games, yeah. Yeah, it's a big pre-season.
Mm-hmm.
Starting soon. Anyway, we'll be back before then with something. Until then, thanks for listening.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.